Hey, what's up, everyone? This is Chris with Elevation Construction. This is going to be our first video of an education series of, a lot of different things that we face when we are dealing with homeowners or business owners who want to do a commercial build out, and a lot of questions that we get that we want to clear up with this education series. In case you're doing some research, hopefully you come across this video and the blogs associated to help you with your research before you get started. So I'm here with Chris Minton of Mint Construction. He and I do a lot of work together. We've been working together for a couple of years, doing a lot of collaboration on small projects, insurance projects, big projects, both residential and commercial. So essentially, if you call us, we're working with him. So it's a collaboration partnership that we have developed. And we want to get on the video today just to talk about some things that we've been running into a lot lately. And this is primarily for the larger residential remodels or commercial build outs that require some structural planning, engineering behind it. And there's a lot of confusion, especially with those who are just getting started and have not experienced this before. So, anyway, Chris, thanks for joining me today on
Hey,
this education series. I know we're working on probably three, potentially four. We just got another lead projects where it's going to require the plans, the engineering plans, and things. So we're just going to go through the process of what it looks like when you work with us in bigger projects like this. So
yeah,
basically, when you call us, when you call our number, you're going to get our team who answers the call. And when you describe your project, so they're going to say, "Oh, can you tell us a little bit about your project?" And you get into something where it's, "Hey, I'm changing things around. I'm changing my layout, or I'm adding on to my house, or something like that," where it sounds like a bigger project, or maybe it's a commercial build out. One of the questions we're going to ask is, do you have an architect and engineer you're working with already? Mainly because those plans are very important. So let's go through a scenario where majority of the time they don't have plans, right, Chris?
correct.
So majority of the time they don't, and majority of the time they're like, "Oh gosh, this is my first time. I'm not sure what to do." So we'll take that first phone call. We will ask those questions, and then from there we will schedule an appointment and schedule our first walkthrough. And Chris, do you want to just kind of talk about what that first walkthrough looks like?
Sure. Yeah. Yeah. Obviously it's our first time meeting the client in person. We're either meeting at their existing space, or if they're getting ready to build out something that doesn't exist, maybe it's offsite somewhere. We'll go wherever they want us to meet. We get to know the client. We listen more than we talk, and then we gather as much information as we can to make sure we're understanding just a high level, rough overall vision of what they're trying to accomplish.
Yeah, exactly. And one question that we get, Chris, and let's address this because one thing that people do ask is, "Hey, can you tell me about how much this is going to cost?" And we're always hesitant to giving them a number. And can you tell them why that's kind of an issue on our end?
Yeah, it's a famous. Just give me a rough ballpark number. How much do you think? Is it in this range or is it in that range? And it's we're we don't like doing that. It's just very difficult because you could really mess up the expectations that you're
Hmm.
having, that we're trying to set for ourselves as well as with the client. At that early in the phase, it's way too early to do that. There's so many factors that play into the build out that at this point in stage, at our initial walk or visit, we just don't know enough about yet. We're trying to first understand the framework, understand at a high level what they want to do, and then as we get closer and closer to um, the plans phase, that's when we can really dial in on numbers. Because end of the day, we want our clients to have the most accurate uh, estimate for their product, for their project as possible, leaving little
Exactly.
room for guesses.
Exactly. Yeah. And that's the biggest thing. We don't want to give a number that is one, way too high where it scares you off, you don't do the project, or way too low where you're just kind of like, "Oh, I thought you said this," after the plans are made. And so we try to be accommodating. I made a video on this on Instagram yesterday on what's today, on September 17th, 2025. Check it out on Elevation Construction Team Instagram and YouTube Shorts. But we try to be as accommodating as we can. But if we were to give a ballpark, we're going to give one that is a little bit on the higher side because we would rather go high And then when we come with a firmer price, we're coming in lower, lower than what your expectations are, because there's integrity behind that. We don't want to mislead anybody. And we're a little afraid to give those numbers out. Um, Sometimes we can give you a cost based on recent projects we just did. We can give you prices based on price per square foot. And I'm not going to mention those on this video because it depends on when you're watching the video, prices change. So just know that if a ballpark is given from our team, one, we're going to tell you we're hesitant and we're going to tell you why. But if push comes to shove and you need some numbers to make a decision, we're going to go pretty high and give you a number. So just keep that in mind when you're asking for ballparks. Okay, so we got the first walkthrough done. You know, you met the homeowner, you got the vision, you kind of understand, well, not kind of, but you understand what they want to do, and now you know, like, okay, well, there's structural stuff that is going on here. We have MEP going on. What do we do from that point?
Yeah, if we understand that the client or homeowner is wanting to relocate walls, load bearing walls, or obviously an addition, adding a room within an attic, or a build on a garage onto an existing property. Those are what I call it major muscle moving items, right? That you really need to have licensed mechanical, electrical, and plumbing professionals to handle the MEP part, as you just referenced. But you also need to make sure that it is engineered correctly for a suitable foundation for your home. I mean, when
Hmm.
you're moving load bearing walls, that's to protect your roof from collapsing in on itself, or walls to fall down. So you don't want to just hire willy nilly crew to come in and start moving walls for you without that protection of an engineered structural assessment that's going to detail out exactly how those walls should be framed and what size lumber should be used to protect your home.
Exactly, and just kind of go back a little bit for those who are just really new in this. What is MEP?
Mechanical is our HVAC system, our air conditioning system. Electrical is all the wiring inside the walls of your home, your outlets, anything electrical in your house. Plumbing is that it's your plumbing lines, your all your water lines, sewer lines, drainage, all of that runs throughout your home. And anytime you're opening and moving walls or creating new space, 9 times out of 10, those three trades are going to be involved at some point: mechanical, electrical, and plumbing.
Exactly, and each one of those specialty trades needs their own plans, so they know how to properly, hook up the HVAC to the new addition, or or the electrical or the plumbing, how the new addition is going to affect the rest of the house. And one of the things, from my experience, we had somebody who had an older home, and their attic space was large enough where you can actually put a living space in there, and it seemed easy enough. You just put in a floor, some drywall, insulation, and call it a room. But we're like, nah, let's get an engineer involved. So we brought an engineer involved. He goes, yeah, you got enough room here, but the base, support base, and the foundation is not going to support the added weight that you're going to put up on that third floor in the attic. So even though it looks like a simple project, you don't know if your house is actually going to support that added weight. So that's why it's important to get a structural engineer involved in a lot of these projects. Okay, so initial walkthrough, you understand, the vision, what they want to do. We're doing a second walkthrough with the engineer and some MEPs, but there's also some other possible touch points along the way, right?
Yeah. So if we're walking with them and we see that the work that they're wanting to do definitely is going to require some structural plans and mechanical, electrical, plumbing plans, we will recommend them to an engineering service, or they may go out and obviously search for that. So once they decided on bringing an engineer, we would meet that engineer on site as the builder, uh, walk with the homeowner, walk with the engineer, make sure the engineer understands the homeowner's intent, make sure we're tied in from the building knowledge standpoint. And then once they agree to move forward, then the engineer starts working on the plans. And depending on the complexity of the project, the plans could take anywhere from 2 to 4 weeks,
Right.
just depending on the size of the project.
And the way we operate is that the homeowner or the business owner will work directly with the engineer, because, cutting out that middleman, us, makes it a lot more efficient and makes things go a little bit faster. We will be involved in the background just to check in with both parties to see how things are coming along, maybe to answer some questions on the engineer side. And then when the engineer submits their plans over to the homeowner, sometimes there's conversations between us and the homeowner just to confirm, hey, do these look good? Does it, because the homeowner typically doesn't know how to read the plans. They want to make sure that, hey, do these plans
Yeah.
match what we talked about on site? And that's something that Chris is able to do and is good at. Um, Anything else to add on that, Chris?
Nope.
So we go through it. Engineer draws up the plans. Plans are drawn up. Homeowner has them. They're finalized. They're stamped and everything. What's the next step from there?
Yeah. So now that basically triggers our next movement to start the preparation and preparing a bid for the homeowner. Now that we have an approved set of plans,
Hmm.
we will issue those plans out to our different teams. Our framers, our mechanical, electrical, plumbers. Everybody's getting a chance to see the plans together. Um, in some cases, our trades are able to bid just based off a set of plans. In some cases, if it's a little bit more complex, they would tell us, "Hey, we'd really like to come out and see the site." So we would organize those walkthroughs with the homeowner in the lead up to us preparing our final estimate. Of course, our goal is to have those estimates ready within 5 to 7 business days once we have those set of plans. So we move pretty quickly and you're able to get our information together pretty quickly once the plans are ready.
Exactly. And that's when we put together our numbers, how much it's going to cost, how long it's going to take. And, usually we can get that within a week or so. Um, Together. There's a lot of internal communication between us on, making sure we got everything covered and schedule and planning and things like that. So it's just not us throwing numbers out and emailing it to you. We're actually meeting as a team, discussing all this stuff. And there's a lot of time that we take to make sure that whatever we give you is actually thorough and thoughtful.
Yes,
Um, Along with that, so we got the numbers, but while we're doing that, we get the homeowner saying, yeah, we want to go forward with this. Those plans are necessary for permitting, right?
correct. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
So anything you want to add on the permitting side?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, we're in the city of Houston. Well, actually, where we technically right now we're Harris County, but
Hmm.
obviously we live in the Houston region, right? So there's multiple municipalities around. It's the city of Houston. You've got everywhere south of city of Houston, all those League City,
Hmm.
Dayton, all these towns down cities south of us have their own jurisdiction. So it depends on where the project is at, and that's important. We obviously want to get an understanding at that at the very beginning, and I should have mentioned that earlier on, is what jurisdiction are we going to be working in? What's
Hmm.
their permitting process like? Are our contractors, our subcontractors licensed, those mechanical, electrical, plumbers, are they licensed for that region that we're building in? Because that's very important.
Hmm. Right.
So once we understand all that and the plans are approved and they're ready to move forward, we will launch those plans and go through the appropriate permitting agency, whether it's Harris County, City of Houston, and follow their process. And they're all different as far as their timelines and turnaround times, and even their inspection requirements vary from one jurisdiction to the other.
Hmm. Exactly. So it all depends where you live. That's going to determine, we're at the mercy of that particular government entity to however fast or slow they are. So, but we are on top of it. We do work with somebody who does permitting all day long, and we just work with them because they're the experts and they can get things done quicker than what we can do or the homeowner themselves can do. All right, so we got the plans, we got the numbers, we got permitting, but before any of the money is exchanged, before anything gets on the schedule, this is where the back office admin comes in, where we send out a contract, and the contract is just going to state this is we agreed to do this job. Here's the scope of work. This is how much it's going to be. And we also, within the contract, we have the payment schedule, right? So we do progress payments throughout, deposits, progress payments with milestones, and then at the end we do a final walkthrough, post construction inspection, and you get the final signature, and then we collect our final payment from there. On the commercial side, we do the post construction inspection, but there's also the certificate of occupancy. fire marshal inspection. If it's a restaurant or whatever, then you have the health inspection that has to come in. So there's a lot more inspections on the commercial side than what needs to be done on the residential side.
Yeah.
Anything that I missed on that, Chris, that you wanted to throw in?
No, I think you nailed it. I mean, these are all very important, and we try to take very structured approach and a very speedy approach as fast as we can. But we want to obviously deliver the right package for the client
Mm-hmm.
and protect their interests. This is their home or their business, and we take that very seriously.
Exactly, we do. Yeah, we do. We don't want any issues at the end. We want everyone to be happy with the product. We want to earn that 5-star review. We just don't want to ask it and hope that you give it to us. We want to actually earn it, and we also want just if it's a business owner, we want them to open up their business as soon as possible, and we want them to make some money. If it's a homeowner, we want you to enjoy your home and bring in your family and have create memories in there. So we do take that very seriously. So contracts done, we're on the schedule. We do the deposit. We talked about that, and then we get to work. And when we get to work, we do tell you what's going on. We say, okay, we expect it to take this long. This week we're going to be doing this. We're going to be doing foundation. We're going to be doing framing and the roof and whatever else is involved. So you're going to be the homeowner or the business owner is going to be, aware of what's going on that particular week. They'll have access to our software. Builder Trend is what we use. So they'll be able to log in and see all the daily logs and all of the updates and the photos and videos, invoicing and all that stuff too. So there's everything is there. And obviously, you're always going to have access to Chris. You're going to have access to the back office admin team. That way, there's no miscommunication or any unanswered questions, just so that everyone is happy along the way. So, yeah, Chris, anything else to add on our process there?
No, that's great. I mean, the once we kick off into construction, it can be an exciting but also very anxious, nervous
Hmm.
time for our clients, right? So the way we try to help reduce that level of anxiety is over communicate and planning, right? Because
Right.
planning, a good plan reduces that anxiety. At least you know roughly over the next 3, 4 weeks or a couple months, however long the project is, what that roadmap looks like. And
Hmm.
then, conditions, it's construction, weather changes, things happen, homeowners have to stop to go out of town for one reason or another. We have to be able to adapt to that and adjust our plan and keep everybody updated. And I think that's what we really pride ourselves on here, working together, is our
Hmm.
ability to not only deliver a great construction product to the homeowner, it's that experience from the moment you make that first phone call to us to we're shaking
Hmm.
hands at the end and high fiving and celebrating just an awesome space that they have.
Exactly. That's exactly, and that's what we want for every single project. So, well, excellent. So, if you're looking to do a project, whether it be big or small, it could be a big one like this, or even the smaller ones. We're not above doing the smaller projects. Give us a call, 832-353-1491. Check us out at elevationconstructionteam.com. Subscribe to our channel. You're going to see more videos like this. Check us out on Instagram, Facebook at Elevation Construction Team for more educational stuff, our work in progress, and a lot of our before and afters as well. And yeah, I think that's it. Chris, thanks for joining me today. And you're going to join us, hopefully, for a lot more of
Sure.
these videos so we can educate the public on the process and what we do for them.
Happy to be here, Chris. Thank you.
Cool, man. Thanks.